some big injuries. Andrew Luck, this seems to be real. Is he going to play?
Pagano has been pretty adamant through the week that he was. He's obviously not doing what he would normally do in practice, and that's got some people freaked out, and understandably so. But, yeah, I mean, they believe there's a track there for him to play this weekend. We're going to have to see. We're going to have to see how that, what happens through the weekend. Swelling, whatever, range of motion, all that stuff. But, I mean, unless it's something that looks like it's going to significantly, put him at risk structurally, I expect him to play.
Yeah, what about Jay Cutler? Because his hamstring, and we know Drew Brees has been saying he's going to be out there playing. Either of those guys have a chance to play or not?
Yeah, I mean, I think Brees in particular. I mean, barring, again, a setback with him, he's taken more work this week than last week, and he actually did more on a Wednesday than I thought he would. And I figured he'd play this week regardless, again, barring something else happening to that shoulder or that being a situation where it just, it gets inflamed and they shut him down. But if he stayed on the course he was on, he'd play. And so, yeah, I mean, again, that's one where because it's a quarterback and it's a throwing shoulder, you're going to have to see how that thing feels Sunday morning until you absolutely positively declare him our starter. But, yeah, I think he does play. With Cutler, they figured that was at least a 2-week injury. With anytime it's a muscle situation like that, obviously the last thing they want is he comes back, he plays 2 quarters, and now he's out 4 or 5 more weeks. So I would suspect they just kind of suck it up and go with Clausen for another week.
When you look at the game last night, JLC, Josh Scobie, how soon till he's cut?
I want to dig around on that a little bit more. Yeah. I had heard some rumblings there that actually what was going on was maybe a little more involving the holder than the kicker.
Always blame the holder. Veteran. Always blame the holder. Come on.
Laces out. Come on.
It's a rookie from a small school. I don't think he held exclusively in college. And, look, they had a guy there, in Brad Wing, who did it pretty well, and then they traded him to the Giants. So, all those things are tied together. And, the long snapper there has been really good for a long time, and Josh Scobie's an established veteran. So, we'll see. Maybe it ends up being Jarvis Landry or somebody else holding. Or maybe on Tuesday they're working out kickers. Although talking to people in Pittsburgh this morning, I didn't get the sense that they would be doing that just yet. Remember, they traded for Scobie. It wasn't like he was just a guy that they had a kicker try out and said, well, he's the least stinky guy. Let's get him. I mean, they pursued that opportunity to go and get him because they'd already been through 2 kickers in a short period of time, and they knew what was out there on the street. They'd already had a kicking competition. So, they gave up, a draft pick and whatever. And Jacksonville's still paying a chunk of his salary, so it's not as if the salary's killing them. But you got to remember now, guys, they're already paying 3 kickers now. So how much are you going to keep spinning that revolving door?
Boy. CBS Sports NFL insider Jason La Canfora, as usual, Friday spot here, Tiki and Tierney. Jay, there was a lot of noise coming out of the Browns facility this week. Some players refuting the TMZ report about the division with McCown and Manziel. What's the real scoop? What do you got?
Yeah, it's not. I think the way that thing was presented was a little over the top. Look, is there a different energy there with Manziel? Did that stadium feel different with Manziel under center? Was that huddle a little bit different with Manziel in the middle of it? Was it a more explosive offense, at least in certain situations with Manziel there? Yeah. So, I mean, people get that. They get that within that organization, and they understand that. But was there this, drumbeat where, it's got to be Johnny, it's got to be Johnny? No. Now, look, there's only so much longer Pet can keep playing this out the way he is. I mean, if he goes out there to, San Diego this week and they get pounded, then you have a slated division games coming up where it's really going to be your only opportunity to salvage this season. If, in fact, the Browns are capable of salvaging seasons, then I think you're going to see Johnny Manziel against the Ravens in 2 weeks. If McCown goes out to San Diego and they pull the upset, then that's obviously a different scenario. I don't think you'll see any, TMZ reports or otherwise about, who the quarterback needs to be.